So I have gone on a shopping spree. Actually, no, technically not shopping, not buying. We're talking about investing. And I want to share what are the latest things that I've been putting my money in on the latest Good Financial Sense podcast. This is episode 39.
Are you ready to show your money who's boss? Welcome to the Good Financial Sense podcast, where we're giving people the tools they need to rise up and take control of their money to succeed. Here's your host, a certified financial planner and Iraqi combat veteran, Jeff Rose.
What is going on, GFC community and Wealth Hacker Nation? Jeff Rose back with another podcast, and I thought I would do something a little bit different. This is something I haven't really done in a while, maybe really at all, is just sharing more up to date on what are some things that I have been placing my money into. So where is Jeff Rose investing? And full disclaimer, I had been sitting on a ton of cash for quite some time. And there was some business reasons. There were some personal reasons of why I and my wife and I both felt like that was where we needed to be, just for like what was going on in our life and going on with the business. And I look back and think, oh my goodness, had I bought some Bitcoin back in the day, if I would have bought some Tesla stock, if I would have bought the S&P 500, if I would have bought anything, I would have made a good chunk of money. And that is okay. That's one of the things where I just had to look back and just surrender the fact and just recognize, like, do we have everything that we need to live the life that we want? And we most definitely do. That being said, I finally feel like, all right, it's time to start putting some money to work. And probably about a year and a half ago, that's when I started, doing some dollar cost averaging, buying some dividend stocks and in my Robinhood account. Finally bought some Bitcoin and I started building some other portfolios and taking advantage of like a little bit more Lending Club, even though they're not around anymore, some Fundrise. And there's some different investing challenges I've been doing on the YouTube channel. If you actually want to check that out, you can go search my name, Jeff Rose, or Wealth Hacker on YouTube, and then just search for the Grow Your Dough Challenge so you can see all the different types of investing challenges I've been doing. That being said, what am I investing in right now? We can put sort of a timestamp on this to kind of give it perspective depending on when you are listening to this. At the time of this recording, it is March the 25th, 2021. The Dow Jones is just under 32,400. Dear Lord, 32,397. I haven't looked at that in a while. That is just crazy to me. And also Bitcoin is currently trading at 50,983. I bring that up because we'll be talking about that. And actually, probably either right after this podcast, I might be transferring some more into Bitcoin, but that is maybe for another recording down the road. So let's go ahead and just kick this off. And actually, this is a great way to start. So one of the things I have been investing more of my money in is cryptocurrency. And I had bought into Bitcoin, I think it was finally 2018, somewhere in that time frame, I think. If I recall, and I've been slowly putting some more money in, and just, I guess here recently, I allocate a little bit more. I think Bitcoin had dropped down into the high 40s, like 40,000. I'm actually trying to get into my Coinbase account right now to see some of my recent transactions so I can just really share what I've been doing. So looking through my transaction history back on January, is it the 21st? Yeah, January 21st, I transferred in another 20,000 into my Coinbase account to purchase Bitcoin. So that is, at the time of then, looked like the price per coin was just under 30,000, 29,638. So that was on January 21st. Then in February, We can talk about this in another podcast, but I was going to put more money in my other cryptocurrency account, BlockFi. And right now they have a limit on how much you can purchase in via ACH. It's like, I think it's 5,000. They may have increased that, or they are planning on increasing that. I've talked to one of the people that work there. I forgot his actual position, but I purchased 50,000 of a stablecoin USDC, transferred that to my BlockFi account. So that's technically was not part of this. And then in February, I bought, or I guess transferred another 20,000, and I bought Ethereum. And this was at the time, it still is the largest one-time transaction of Ethereum that I have purchased. So 20,000, this is when Ethereum was trading at $1,663 per coin. Just kind of give you perspective, as of right now, Ethereum is trading for Why doesn't it tell me? Just kidding. Looks like I'm actually down. Oh no, 1,585. So that one I am down. I will say it was up to 2,000. So I'm looking at my Coinbase account now, and from just a few days ago, I think the high was around, over 220,000, I believe. Total right now I'm looking at 191,000. So I'm down from the high about 30,000, but overall I am still up probably at least 80 to 100,000. I don't know exactly, but somewhere in that ballpark. And that's just because one of my earlier positions on Bitcoin was purchased when it was around 7,000, I believe, a coin. I think I bought some also when it was 3,000. And so anyway, that is one of the things I've been purchasing. Now with BlockFi, which I have talked about on a previous podcast, initially, I didn't really, this is how Jeff Rose learns. I learned by osmosis. That's not it. I guess it's like absorbing it. I mean, I guess it could be. But basically, me, I jump in. Usually not like, I'm not going to jump in with like all my money. But when I first opened my BlockFi account, I think I put in 20 or 25,000 because I wanted to test it out. And when I started testing it out, all I bought was some stable coin, the USD, I believe, or USDC, one of the two. And essentially, I just wanted to test it out. It's a stable coin basically is supposed to mirror some sort of currency, and that, if it doesn't sound like something familiar, the USD or USDC is going to track the US dollar. So essentially, it's not supposed to have any volatility. I mean, that there are some, I'm using air quotes when I say that, it's supposed to not to. It definitely could. But with that, it was paying an 8.6% interest. So it was like, okay, this is like basically like a high yield bond. And that's what I've been doing for a while. And then I started with 25, added another 25, then added another 25. So right now, total in my BlockFi account, I've got 75,000. And just recently, so a few changes. And this is fun. I didn't even know this until I posted this on Twitter, and I shared, how much interest I had made on my BlockFi account when it was only 25,000. And the funny thing was, and I think I shared this in previous podcasts, it's worth repeating. I have one of our emergency funds. It's got just over $500,000, so $500,000 in it at a big bank. It's a U.S. bank. That's a bigger bank in our area that we decided to work with whenever we moved here to the Tennessee, Nashville area. So that's who we currently bank with. And I mean, this is probably no surprise, but like that account pays next to nothing. I think it's 0.001% or something like that. And for the entire month, I think that account with the $500,000 made about 20, I don't remember the exact number, but it was like $23, $24. And then you looked at my BlockFi account, which had 25,000, a fraction of what my bigger account had. And yet like the interest payments that I've been making there are like 6 or 8 times more. I mean, it's just insane, like how much more. And even like for this month, just to give you perspective, now there is more here, now I've got 75,000, not the 25,000, but the accrued interest for the month so far is $426. compare that to the 24. Now, one of the changes that I made, I am not holding all USDC. So I'm not holding all all stablecoin. And I was trying to find the transactions. Okay, so it looks like on March 23rd, I transferred or traded $10,000 of my stablecoin, my USDC, for Bitcoin. And the reasoning for that was Bitcoin had dropped, and I'm trying to find out how much the price was in. I think it might be even higher than it is now. So on the 21st, is that what I said? Somewhere in the low 50s, like 52-ish, I believe, is what I'm looking at the 24-hour. Let me look at the 1 week. Oh, okay. So it actually has dropped a lot more. So the idea was like, hey, I'm going to try to get in, buying on a dip per se, but it definitely has dipped more since then. But here's kind of the cool thing with BlockFi is you get paid interest on not just your stablecoin, which is 8.6%, but you also get paid interest on your Bitcoin. So even though right now I transferred $10,000 in, there were some fees associated with that. So right now, principal, I have just over 9,000, so 9,099, but I am earning 6% on my Bitcoin, which I'm having paid, funny enough, in Ethereum at the moment. So that is a whole other thing. But with BlockFi, they give you the option that, do you want your interest paid in your stablecoin, or let's say you deposit all Bitcoin, do you want your interest paid in more Bitcoin? And I would think of that as like if I'm buying a stock. So here, let me just kind of break this down for you. So this is for those that are more familiar with dividends and stocks. So imagine that you open up an investment account and you buy Apple stock, and Apple pays a dividend. So BlockFi gives you the choice. Do you want to get your interest, your dividend paid in more Apple stock, or do you want to get your dividend or interest paid in Google stock? And that's kind of what they give you the option to do. It is unique. You can only choose one of the different cryptocurrencies that they offer. At the time when I had all USDC, all my stablecoin, I chose Ethereum, but I don't know. I may change that. I don't know yet, because with Ethereum down, Bitcoin down, I mean, either one wouldn't be a bad idea. So the thought was, okay, instead of getting paid in stablecoin, which is paying 8.6%, maybe I can get it paid in like a Bitcoin or Ethereum that is still going to pay me interest, but it also has more room for appreciation, because right now stablecoin doesn't appreciate. So stablecoin is much more like a bond, where you're not going to see your principal increase. You're just getting the interest, where obviously with Bitcoin, Ethereum, it is like a growth stock with a really salty dividend. I mean, that's the best way I can explain it, where it can make sense. Obviously, I mean, we're talking growth stocks. We're talking a lot of volatility, which, I mean, that is exactly what I'm seeing right now with the current values in my BlockFi and Coinbase account. Oh my gosh. So I just realized that we're still on number one. We got to speed this up, Jeff Rose. All right. So that is the first thing that I'm buying. The second thing that I am buying is Tesla stock. And maybe I should have bought this a long, long time ago. But the reality is that this is actually not for me. Well, yes, I have purchased Tesla stock for myself. What I'm actually buying this in is not for me. It is for my kids. So here's another, gosh, I'm just calling myself out here right now. I think one of the coolest things I've done for my kids, which they won't fully appreciate until later on in life, I'm sure, but I opened up custodial Roth IRAs for each of them. So right now I've got 4 kids, a 13-year-old down to a 6-year-old. And the way that we structured our business, they're actually on our payroll. helping out with like shredding and filing, but also helping out with some of our influencer stuff, like our brand stuff, where they're like in our pictures or our videos. And trust me, my CPA, we have talked about this. And, so right now we pay them a fair amount, nothing extravagant, like they're not making six figures a year. We have it all set up where there's tracking, blah, blah, blah. And they don't even know this yet. They kind of know, but we're just not making it like readily known. Like, hey, by the way, this is how much you made last year. And it's going into the savings account and you're not going to touch it. Even though technically, I guess when they're 18, they can touch it, but hopefully they won't listen to this podcast, so they don't know that. Anyway, but since they do have verifiable income, I was able to open up custodial Roth IRAs for them. And I think we've been doing this for a few years now. And some years we maxed it out. I think one year, maybe the first year we didn't. We were just trying to figure it out. And I think my wife even made the comment like, why are we giving them so much? It was like, because we can, I don't know. But in that Roth, so I set up these Roths like years ago. And this is when, going back the 2015, 16, like assuming that the market is going to have some sort of correction at some point. Obviously, we know what's happened since then. There hasn't been a correction. It's just continued to skyrocket. And I can give you some more of my background of, keep in mind, I'm coming from the era where the Dow Jones hit 14,000, dropped down to 6,000 for the 2008 financial crisis. And then it gets up to 20. And now here we are at 32, 33, like whatever it is. Like it's just been an insane roller coaster. Long story short, I sat in cash in my kids' accounts for years. And it wasn't until recently that I finally started purchasing some stock. I decided to go the stock route just because I thought they had more fun with it. And yes, they could lose, could gain, but either way, this is like free money for them. So they want to complain, then that's on them. But I bought predominantly Tesla stock, and for all my kids, I think in my older two that had larger balances, honestly, I don't remember. I think it was maybe half in Facebook, maybe put some in Amazon as well. I don't think I did Google. But mostly Tesla stock, just because my kids are always talking about Tesla. And I've talked about like, I want to get a Tesla, but with 4 kids right now, I'm a Tesla S kind of guy. I just love the look of it. And it just doesn't really work when you got a family of 6 and actually 8, if you want to count our 2 puppies. So the Tesla X would be the most logical purchase. And I'm just not as a big fan of that one. Maybe it'll grow on me, or I'm just waiting for the semi, one of the two. But that is the second thing that I have been buying is Tesla stock. Not for me though, for my kids. All right. So number three is the one that I am most excited about. I mean, I'm excited about Bitcoin more so when it's, trading for over 60,000, not 50,000 like it is right now. But this is the one that we are combining, just like it's when the new meets the old. And what I mean by this is just in the last few months, each of my kids, mostly my 2 older boys who are 13 and 11, have really got into sports cards. Now I have to train myself to call them sports cards because when I was a kid, they were just called baseball cards. I mean, even like you go to the baseball card shop, even though they sold NFL cards and NBA cards and everything else in between. But, right now, obviously, like sports cards, they're not just all baseball cards. So they've gotten into it. And then I started getting into it. Now, it took a little while. I think it was last year. I don't even remember what sparked it, but maybe it was The Last Dance, the ESPN documentary with the Chicago Bulls and Michael Jordan's last season. But I remember I ended up going on eBay. I ended up purchasing a few, I think it was like 2 cards. No. I actually bought a Jordan 1986 Fleer rookie. This is like the mecca of all basketball cards. It wasn't graded, and graded means that, and this is how much the hobby has changed since I was collecting. But right now, for those that don't know, you have your basic cards, which they would call raw. So these are just like the cards you'd open in a pack and put in your protective sleeve and, trade with your friends. And, that's what I did as a kid, and that's what my kids are doing. But then now you have the option, if you want, you can send it off to a grading company and they will assign a numerical rating to that card. And typically it's 1 being not good condition to 10 being perfect, immaculate, as mint as it can be. And so one of the most popular, like there's a few, there's Beckett and PSA, and there's a few others. Like PSA, I think by far is like the most recognized one. Beckett is close behind. So if you had like a Jordan 86 Fleer that was a PSA 10, meaning that it was in perfect mint condition, perfectly centered, no surface scratches, the corners were just crisp. I've seen that card go on auction right now on eBay and other auctions from $75,000 to $150,000 for a piece of cardboard. Just think about that for a minute, right? So I remember like I was starting to bid on some. I wasn't trying to get one that was graded because typically if it's not graded, you can look at a card and maybe you can kind of guess, but you really don't know. Plus there's a fee to have these cards graded. I don't know exactly how much it is, but depending on the card's value. So you could spend anywhere from $50, I think, to maybe a couple thousand to have a card graded. And they put like this nice plastic case, protective case, and it just looks it looks really clean, really legit, it's part of, if you are into collecting. So I started buying, I bought one, I got one, it wasn't great condition. I got another one and there was something about it. Oh, I know what it was. It was like a lot. So there was like, let's say 50 other Michael Jordan cards and his 86 Fleer rookie. Well, I decided to send both of them off to be graded, and one of them came back as authentic, but altered, which basically means that somebody tried to make the card look in better condition than it was. So, and this is something I did as a kid a few times. Like I remember it was like some sort of Topps baseball card that had black borders, that had a bent corner, and I took a black Sharpie to it, to one of the corners to make it look good. If you're an inspector or grader, you can tell that. I don't know what exactly this person did, but nonetheless, like that's what it got graded. It still was authentic, so that was good. And even those, they can still command, like I think I saw one on eBay the other day selling for like $3,000 or $4,000 for a authentic altered card. But the other card came back as a counterfeit. And there are so many good counterfeits out there on the market. And even side by side, like it was hard for me. I didn't really understand it at all. But anyway, I ended up getting my money back through eBay. Thank goodness. Thank goodness that I filed a claim within, it was out of eBay's claim time period. But since it went through PayPal, I had 90 days to file a claim, and I was able to get all my money back. Thank goodness. So, but even still, I think that Jordan, the authentic one, was $600, I think, is what I paid for it. And right now, with that being graded authentic, if I wanted to sell it for $2,000 or $3,000. So like that's when I started to get into it. I bought a few other Jordan cards that, probably gone up 10x in value. But what is crazy is that I bought for Christmas gifts for each of my kids. So my oldest son is a LeBron fan. My middle son is a Curry fan. And I bought my oldest son a LeBron rookie that was graded a 9.5. And I think I paid around $400 for it. And like, that was a lot of money. Like it was really hard for me to spend that amount of money on a card for my son. I think it was a Christmas present. And actually, funny story is that I didn't actually get that card. The guy sent the wrong card. He sent me a Baker Mayfield rated rookie instead. So he sent the LeBron rookie to somebody else. Thankfully, he had another one somehow, and I got the card that I bought. Anyway, that's a whole other story. So that card, $400, I just saw it go sell on an auction on eBay for over $4,000. Like the sports card market has just gone crazy. And the Jordan rookies everything has gone up. Like everything has gone up. And I'm a little bit late to the party on this. I mean, it really all started around the mid-pandemic, and I'm not sure what stirred it, even though I know Gary Vaynerchuk, popular entrepreneur, YouTuber, podcaster, author, he had a prediction saying that with sneaker resellers, which we talked about on a previous podcast, that the market there just wasn't a huge inventory of sneakers for sneaker flippers, so that they were going to eventually go to the card market. And that's exactly, I don't know if it's all of them, but that's what we've seen. So I have started to dabble and load up on some cards. And I've bought a few Luka, I cannot say his last name to save my life, Luka Doncic rookies. Bought a Prism base rookie, PSA 10 that was graded, paid $1,200 for that. Just had another one delivered. It was a PSA 10 for, I think it was a Prism, some alternate rookie. It was only like $200, but I bought that. I bought some raw LaMelo Ball rookies, mostly hoops, looking to get some Donruss as well. He was the clear favorite to win Rookie of the Year. And funny enough, right after I get all his cards, he gets hurt. So I think he fractured his wrist and he's potentially out for the rest of the year. So I posted on Twitter, kind of a joke, like, well, so basically my stock picking is just like my card buying. So anytime I pick something, it tends to go down in value. And that's exactly what happens. I buy LaMelo Ball, he gets injured. So my bad, LaMelo, on that one. Also loading up on some Jordans. I do want to add some more Jordan rookies to my collection. And I have a few different reasons for this, and I'll probably say this for a separate podcast. But some Jordans that I've been getting, but the one I've been really loading up on, which everybody has too, are Kobe. Kobe Bryant, predominantly rookies, what I'm looking at. And there are some crazy ones out there. And actually, let me see if I can find you just an example of like his most premium card. So in 1996, Topps is one of the more common basketball brands. There are several others. So you had his 96 Topps Chrome rookie, but then you also had a Topps, well, you had the Topps rookie, then you also had a Topps Chrome, which was basically what it sounds like. It had this chrome finish to it. And then from there, you had a Topps Chrome Refractor, which was basically just even more rare and less produced than the standard 96 Topps rookie. So I'm looking at a few examples here, and there is a 96 Topps Chrome Reactor. It's a PSA 9 selling for $98,000. There's another one just went listed, looks like today, selling for $150,000. That is correct. That is one card. Whereas you can pick up, I think, the 96 Topps Chrome, the base one, the regular one, for a PSA 9 at around $1,200, like about, give or take. So I don't have that one yet. That is actually one of the ones on my hit list. So what the ones that I bought was, there was a Topps Finest, which was like, I guess, just another brand, very pretty card. So I was able to pick up two of those on eBay, one at a really good price. It was a steal. They're going for like $800 or $900. I got it for like $400. I'm not really sure how I did that, but I did. So those are two. Picked up a 96 Bowman's Best, which was another brand of Topps. It also is a very pretty card. I got that one on, funny enough, is StockX. So StockX is predominantly known as more for shoes, but they have added clothing and also collectibles to include baseball cards. So I actually bought one of the Luka rookies I mentioned earlier. I've got a box sitting over here that I have not opened yet. It's got a Luka in there. I've got a Kobe on the way, and just purchased another Luka Donruss Optic rated rookie. So it was a PSA 10 as well. So those are just a few, and some of the other ones I'm picking up more just because I've just enjoy it, is anything that is baseball and Michael Jordan related. So there are a few different options out there. But there's just a few that I really, really, really like that they're out there, and I don't want to bore you with the details on those, but it's a combination between an investment for myself, but also like legacy planning, because I kind of figured like, man, I got to buy at least 3 of every good card, because that way if something happens to me and my kids are fighting over one card, so they just each get one. I mean, that's kind of how I'm thinking about it. So now obviously I got to get my wife on board to support that. But yeah, sports cards. And I mean, I don't know if I'll actually use this as to flip anything, like, buy and sell. Right now it is more of a buy and hold for the long term. My kid's really into the rookies, which I was as a kid too. I might pick up a few. I'm not really looking, like I don't have any Zion rookies yet. Luka is the only one that I'm bullish on, just because I just think he's a complete player. I enjoy watching him. And I think he also has the international market. So I think a long-term play, provided he doesn't get injured. And there's a few other guys I'm looking at and just haven't really jumped in per se. But so I'm looking at Kobe's, Jordans, Lukas. Maybe I'll get some more LaMelo Balls just for fun, or just load up on more Jordans. I need some more 86 Fleers, what I need. Okay, so the final thing that I have invested into recently, and this is another one I'm excited about because I've never done this before. I've always wanted to do this, and it just, I guess, either never worked out or never had an opportunity where I could get in, but I became an angel investor for the first time. And for those that aren't familiar with angel investing, basically we're talking about investing into startups that have a potential to go public, sell out to a bigger company, have a 100x return on your money, or the company ends up going nowhere. And everything that you put into it, you lose. And the way that I discovered this, I had another mutual friend of mine introduced me to this guy who had this idea for a startup that he already was in his seeding round. So he was going out, like had interest, had investors. And when I got a chance to just hear what, just about his background, what he was passionate about, I'm like, this is actually something that I would be interested in. And at the time, the name of it was Guided Metrics, and they recently rebranded to Fortunately.io. I think the guy, the founder, was an actuary, so he's big into data and spreadsheets and running a bunch of numbers. And basically, he was just running the numbers for himself. He was looking at buying a house and looking at a 30-year fixed mortgage compared to a 10-year balloon type mortgage, and just basically running the numbers to see like which one is actually going to be in his best interest, and also, what's going to either save him or make him the most money. And funny enough, I think many people just kind of default to I'm just a 30-year fixed is the way to go. But like in his situation, it was the 10-year balloon, especially with where interest rates are at right now and where they're potentially going to be in the next, 5-10 years. It actually made more sense. And I forgot exactly how much it saved him, but it was a sizable amount of money. And then he basically thought, man, there's other people out there that don't know how to do this. And how can we do this to make it a simple way, like just a quick calculation to find out what's going to be like in your best interest to help you make more, save more, etc. And that's essentially what he started creating. So he's created some sort of calculation, there's a software behind it. And that's what they are in the process of creating right now. If you want to look more about it, you can go to Fortunately.io to check it out. And, for me, it wasn't a sizable investment. I could have put in, I don't know if there was like a cap, but I think, 25,000 is all that I put in. And for me, it was obviously, if I can get 10x return, great. If I can get 20x return, 100x return, that'd be awesome. Most of the time though, what I've seen with angel investors, like it takes years, 5 years, maybe even 10 years, to make any money. And when you actually look at the rate of return, obviously there are exceptions out there like your Ubers and, like all those tech giants, but with most of the people that doesn't always happen. But for me, I was more interested to learn just the process of getting the idea, looking for funding, working with venture capitalists, and just that whole process is what I'm really intrigued about. And that is one of the reasons why. One, it made sense. It's in my space, in the financial space. But in the event that I ever want to have a startup, which I don't know if that'll ever happen, but at least, it's one of those making connections, and you're one connection away from who knows what. And that's why I was really excited to kind of get involved into this. So right now there aren't any other investment opportunities at this time. I'm assuming eventually they'll have another round open up. But that was one of the things that I was excited about. So that is the most recent investment that I can think of. There might be one or two that I missed, but those are predominantly the big ones here recently. So what do you think of all the investment ideas I shared with you? What are you most excited about? It's got to be the sports cards, right? It has to be. Maybe not. But either way, let me know what you think about this. And also, if you're interested in me doing more of these type podcasts where I'm kind of sharing behind the scenes of what's going on with investing and financial planning in the world of Jeff Rose. All right, y'all. If you haven't yet, be sure to subscribe, leave us a review on iTunes or whatever podcast player that you are listening on, so we can get the message out there to more people to help them build wealth, accelerate their wealth building, and just have fun and live an awesome life. As a reminder, this is Jeff Rose reminding you that it's your money, it's your life, and only you can make it awesome. Until next time, peace.
Thanks for listening to the Good Financial Sense podcast, where we're giving people the encouragement they need to rise up and take control of their money. Join the Money Uprising movement at goodfinancialsense.com.